Yes.
Because I was searching for a plane accident that I didn't know what it was all about, and it had to do with this Malaysia airplane disaster. And suddenly I was seeing that, and my wife said, did you see this here with the flat earth, the pilots, and I mean, you flew, you have a license, did you see the same?
Yeah.
And I watched it 10 times, and suddenly I had that paradigm shift. This is really how it is. We have no satellites.
Yeah.
Because we have no GPS satellite system. It's all land-based.
Yes.
I knew that from my pilot education, that we worked with Lorraine, long-range navigational system.
Yes.
And that is land-based. I know that for a fact. So I called a friend of mine in Germany and said, hey, listen, how is that navigation system for ILS actually working?
Yeah.
And he said to me, yeah, it's actually antennas in every country. There's so and so many antennas.
Yes.
And they're all strategically built into the landscape.
Yes.
And it works some similar like an NDB, or non-directional bearing.
Yes.
And this is how it works. And I was digging and digging, and then I phoned Quantum.
Yes.
Said, hey, listen, when you fly from Ireland or from Argentina to New Zealand, how do you fly? And it didn't give me a direct answer, but then I got a pilot from Australia on the phone.
Yes.
And he told me, yeah, we're flying actually 2 legs. And I said, why are you flying 2 legs? And he said, yeah, we fly mostly over the Emirates, because that is the best way. This helps the length of the flight.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, but that is totally off track. And he said, yeah, I don't know either why we are doing this, but we have our what's it called? Our ETOPS. ETOPS is the estimated flying time over open sea.
Yes.
And you cannot extend it over certain hours.
Yes.
It's a little bit complicated to explain why they do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to fly over land. And then I talked to a guy in Denver when I was down in Denver in USA.
Yes.
And we flew together to Sacramento.
Yes.
And I told him this story, and I said, that's a very, very good point. I have a guy who is working for the Navy, or he worked for the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we asked him. And then it came to pass that we asked him and said, yeah, if you really ask me that question, I think that we have a flat water surface. And so it came in rolling. Huh?
Yes, yes.
And more and more and more things I discovered. And
we have a corporate travel agent that didn't want to go on air, wanted to be not necessarily anonymous. We're not going to give out her last name, but she's got a statement about flight routes. So you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. It's from corporate travel agents. Hello, Mark. About a month ago, my father had brought up to me some flat earth evidence. Of course, the first thing I did was laugh, but I only laughed once as I began to listen to some evidence, and it all clicked in for me. As a corporate travel agent for over 20 years, I started to remember all the times that clients inquired about the length of their flight times. There were so many cases that it did not seem to make sense, and they were looking to me for a reasonable explanation. Normally, I would agree with them that the flight time seemed longer than it should be. But then the person would automatically brush it off and put it out of their mind. So next, I immediately went to my airline system to look up flight times. I specifically looked at nonstop flights as they are easier to compare long-haul flights against each other. When I closely compared flights, my heart sank as I realized it was true. There is no reasonable explanation for all the inconsistencies. I wanted to give you a good example, but something surprising happened. I had previously checked certain city pairs, such as Sydney, Australia to Johannesburg, South Africa, versus Tokyo, Japan to Istanbul, Turkey. These cities should be similar distances apart according to the globe map model. The flight time from Australia to Africa was more than 4 hours more than the flight in the Northern Hemisphere. This supports the flat Earth model. A month ago, I checked many city pairs, and every time it was obvious that there was a huge discrepancy. The problem is that I checked again today so that I could give you some specific examples. And suddenly, the flight times have changed to look more as they should on a globe Earth. They may be now using aircraft that flies faster, doubt it, for the longer hauls, and the truth is that the flights often come in now much earlier later than their planned schedule predicts. So the interesting part is that it appears they have taken the time to adjust all the flight times since they are now under the radar of the flat Earth movement. This is really interesting because it shows that they are running scared of getting caught in this big lie. Another interesting tidbit is that my ex-husband is an aerospace engineer working on NASA contracts. I have long been skeptical of the moon landing and have asked him many questions to see if he could verify anything to be true, as they say. He had no idea on this subject. His company had him working only on small parts of each project and contract at any given time, and he was not informed about the whole picture. He only concentrated on his part of the project. So it is definitely very compartmentalized there at, and I'm not supposed to mention the aerospace subcontractor, but
Gotcha.
You guys can probably take a guess. And he, of course, got angry with me for questioning any of it. Ha ha. So this information may not be concrete enough to change anyone's mind, but I thought you might find it interesting. I want to thank you for your contribution to society and not letting deniers bring you down with their nasty attitudes. Flat Earth is very interesting, and there are many things that are different when you realize that the Earth is a plane. It really makes more sense, as I have never understood things like the lunar eclipse before looking at it with this new model. I like your take on things, and this gives us plenty to reconsider about our reality. Thank you, Denise.